Joining me now from the South Carolina Greenville County GOP, the chairperson, Yvonne Julian. Good afternoon, young lady.
Well, good afternoon, Bill, and thank you so much for having me on. It's good to be back in Greenville, and that was a wonderful list just now about Miss Kamala. So
did you like that?
Oh, I loved it.
Did you like that? Now, I got a question for you. I have always, and you know this, I've always been very disappointed with our state politicians, especially the ones that we send to D.C. When you were at the RNC, is there any chance that the Trump fairy dust has been sprinkled on them and they've changed and they're going to become stalwart America first guys instead of just these guys that are always first in line on payday?
Well, that is a fabulous question, Bill. And I can say that I can say with honesty that there were known former never-Trumpers actually rapidly, energetically waving Trump vast signs. But
right.
What that means remains to be seen. It was pretty fascinating to see where we were placed in the sort of, because there's a big arena and the states are seated, and we were seated like basically in the doghouse section. But I think it was clearly because of the continued opposition to the America First, to President Trump, and things like even to the extent of challenging people that he wanted on certain committees. So it was clear we were punished, but it was the most glorious event. I mean, it was really life-changing. It was so wonderful, Bill. We're so grateful to people like our supporters because, as you probably know, there's a process of voting at different levels to get to be a delegate. And the people that supported us, and I actually had a T-shirt made with everybody's name. We included you. So, because it was just, and we were not people that the establishment politicians, I mean, you could see the grimaces on some of the faces, even the fact that the America Firsters were there, But it was,
so you guys
so
were so you were punished by the establishment?
Well, we were punished because this is an RNC event, so they choose the seating arrangement. So we were punished by them because the RNC, of course, now is a Trump RNC. But South Carolina was, the seating was punished, and it's really our leadership that has been somewhat oppositional, leadership, and a lot of longtime party people who were either Cruz or DeSantis supporters. That Trump had a list of people that he wanted for committees that are instrumental because we're thinking ahead. The RNC is thinking ahead to the next presidential, to the next RNC.
Right.
And so there are committees that are involved and that do this work. And there was a slate of people that Trump had who have been longtime Trump supporters that he wanted picked. And our leadership actually challenged that, which is, was mind-boggling to me. I'm sure to you as somebody from the military, for me as the business world, I mean, the boss says something, you do it, right?
Right.
So, I mean, that's South Carolina. What can we say? But we love them anyway. Our local team did do a great job of arrangements for us. I mean, we had some really interesting meetings with like Andy Barr of Kentucky, who talked about what's happened in his trip to the border. Recent sort of hands-on view. So just the delegations and then meetings with, people like Tim Scott. I mean, it was really our people, the staff did a great job of turning into, like I said, just a memorable event. I could not, for me, because it was historic, being there. I got there on Saturday, the day Trump, the assassination attempt.
Right.
So that emotional rush it reminded me of my 9/11 feeling, and also when I was a kid when Kennedy had got shot. For that moment that I was not sure whether he was dead or alive. And this little bit of interesting tidbit is we would have had to proceed with the convention anyway.
Right.
Even if he had been killed. So it was just, I mean, and so grateful, the historic nature of it, and grateful that he's alive. Bittersweet, of course, because of the people who were, the gentleman who was killed, Corey Compatore, the people who were injured because of this, assassination attempt, which is a whole show in its own. But it was the way the lineup was orchestrated. I mean, just masterful. When Trump talked about all Americans, there was something in there for everybody. And there were times that we all had goosebumps or tears, And, the other highlight for me is being a Trump supporter. I actually got picked to sit in the VIP seat where Trump and all his family sit. So I was sitting right behind our Governor McMaster, Pamela Yvette, and I think it was Senator Ron Johnson. And, of course, I tried not to. I was not a groupie. I didn't go up and say, can I have a picture? Can I have a picture? I sat quietly. I minded my manners. So it was glorious, Bill.
I don't know. There's a few people I wouldn't mind going up and asking for. Trump would be one of them. I mean, not many,
exactly, but
Trump would be one of them.
Exactly.
So
yeah, but you feel kind of bad for him because you can see. I mean, that must take a psychic toll to just be surrounded by people, I mean, I admire him. He's got an energy level that is just, I mean, when he came out on that stage, I mean, we were hoarse because, I mean, the yelling and the screaming, and you kind of like good music like I do. So just the music that he played, I mean, when we were dancing, it was, and it's just, and the messaging, which we have learned is so important in politics, Bill, is so important to get to the average person, not insiders like you or, semi-insiders, like people who know what's going on. The messaging is so key, and they just did such a fantastic job because he's talking to the average American, And I mean, his choice of, this J.D. Vance guy, that story, I mean, I was telling people, I said, that's an American story because, the number of, families here in South Carolina, with the fentanyl problem that we have, the number of times you can relate to, where grandparents are having to step in because parents have, faltered on the parenting trail because of drugs. It was just, I mean, like I said, I can't say enough positive about it. So,
well, I've never gotten to go to one of those things. I would love to go to one of those things when the establishment is out there harumphing all of the populist American first people, so I could just look at them and go, I saw a special about you guys with Morgan Freeman. It was where the big comet comes down and kills all the dinosaurs. You guys had better be looking towards the heavens because your time is a-coming. I don't know if you've noticed that. I don't know if you guys get that. I mean, I see you out here. You're on the coattails. It's a good thing he's wearing some that you can drag yourselves on because of that non-action you take every day. So that's why I was asking if they'd gotten out there and they'd been energized a little bit, and they were like, okay.
Right. Well, I think they are because I think for some of them, which is I think why I'm so grateful for our people, but for some of these people, this is their livelihood. And I get that they don't like that people are coming in, but for us, it's not a livelihood. This is a calling, it's a calling. I think it's the same way people go into the ministry or whatever. We're not trying to get anything. So right. I understand their resistance, but they just need to reframe their thinking about government, and realize this is not their private business. It's not something that was meant to enrich them, and it's a new world, and they just have to accept that reality. Some of them, I think, will get on board, not willingly, but it's the practical thing to do. But others, they're going to continue to fight. I mean, this whole thing about this narrative about Trump being, not pro-life, there's a whole, you see it in California, and, you see that's going to develop because I think that's going to be one of the weapons they will try to use to sort of split Republicans is because this platform fight. So that's already started. We see it clearly.
Well, I mean, Trump's stand on abortion is Washingtonian. Yes. As in George Washington. He's saying the state's got to decide.
Exactly.
He's giving up. He's telling the federal government, we have no power over this.
Right. Exactly.
You governors can get out there and you can make the decisions for yourself and do whatever you want to do. And, if your people vote for it, if they are that set on their own little self-genocidal track on as far as against humanity, well, by all means, have at it. Of course, when everybody starts moving away from your state, don't sit there and wonder. You'll know. Understand?
That's exactly right. You will see it. And then the disappointment, what I try to communicate to people is I understand the passion of people who are true pro-lifers and who are not issue grifters. But I said, you have to realize that you are trying to talk about a national ban on abortion in a city where 60%, in a country where 60% of white Democrats reportedly don't even believe in God. So that's a public policy reality you face, Yeah,
well.
Yeah. Yeah.
The establishment, the establishment, there's never something they can't mess up by trying to have to regulate, legislate, and most of the time they show up to the party always late. So
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Exactly.
Listen, thank you very much.
Win.
Thank you very much for for bringing us up to date. I do appreciate that. I'll be talking to you soon.
Oh, thank you so much. It was a great conversation, but glad to be home, Bill. Take care.
Yes, ma'am.
Bye.